As we watch Donald Trump put another obscenely unqualified former lawyer of his or friend of his or Fox and friend of his into the U.S. attorney position in the 90 or so federal districts that require a U.S. attorney, what we're watching is the fight, the pushback by the Senate. There's just some candidates that are too extreme for even the MAGA Senate to approve. But then Donald Trump has his own attempts around it, backdoor ways, and Pam Bondi claiming that she's making special attorneys. But what is happening, and how is Donald Trump using these unqualified partisan hacks to do his political bidding, even for a short amount of time? I talk about it with Paul Blumenthal of Huffington Post, who comes on and briefs our audience about a new piece of investigative reporting and journalism that he just recently did. Here's a clip of Paul Blumenthal with me.
There are a fair amount who have left, and I mean, there are a fair amount of Republicans who are in there who actually believe in the rule of law. And I mean, to get at what you were just saying is like, whether you stay or whether you go, if you actually believe in the rule of law, they're going to find you and root you out to put somebody corrupt in your place, like we just saw in the Eastern District of Virginia.
Right. Lindsay Halligan, of all people. I did a hot take, or I did a podcast on Tuesday night, and I said, do you know who Lindsay Halligan is? I said, the reality is, in any other normal universe, you would never know who Lindsay Halligan is, a small-time insurance defense lawyer, 7 or 8 years out of law school down in Florida. Except she ended up the local counsel for Donald Trump in the Mar-a-Lago case. She looks like she came off the Fox bench in terms of another blonde person of a certain age. And now not only does she get elevated to, let me root through the Smithsonian records to see what facts I need to cancel. But then when Donald Trump's looking around for a friendly to take over the Eastern District of Virginia, one of the most prestigious and high-powered prosecutors' offices in America, attached to the rocket docket, he lands on, the wheel spins and lands on Lindsay, I've never been a prosecutor, Halligan. It is just corruption at the highest level.
And right on the eve of them dealing with the Google ad tech case as well, the antitrust case.
Good
Does
luck.
she know anything about that? I don't think so.
She knows what Google is. I'll give her that. She knows what Google is.
She's there for one purpose, and that's the same as Alina Habba was in New Jersey, or Ed Martin or Janine Pirro here in Washington, D.C., and that's to do Donald Trump's bidding and persecute his enemies.
Do we have the makings of your next article, Paul?
It might already be up.
Okay. That's true. Is there one up already by you on this?
Yeah.
All right. We'll stay here. Let's talk about it. What's that? What's the premise of that one? We'll do a twofer.
Well, the premise of that one is, I think something we've maybe talked about before is that the Trump v. U.S. decision authorized the president of the United States by making him criminally immune. And, they said this sort of maybe as an aside, but as a way to discuss some of the allegations made against Trump in the 2020 indictment is that, the president has, as one of his core powers, the ability to talk to and direct the Department of Justice. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the Eastern District of Virginia. Trump saying, he sent out this Truth Social post saying, Pam, you got to bring charges to Pam Bondi against Letitia James. They're looking at doing the same thing in Maryland against Adam Schiff for these sort of likely phony charges of mortgage fraud. And, Eric Siebert, rock-ribbed conservative Republican, was forced to step down in the Eastern District of Virginia because of this, because he wouldn't bring charges, because the case is flimsy at best, you could describe it. So, what we're seeing is really just the full flowering of the Trump v. U.S. decision here, with the total corruption of government that John Roberts has enabled.
Yeah. And let's stay on cyber. When I saw the interview, when I saw the press conference, or I saw pictures of Cyber, I thought this was Jack Smith come back to life. The guy looks like Jack Smith. More importantly, as you said, he's a conservative, just a career prosecutor, just wanted to do his job, making our country safer, running counterintelligence operations, running drug interdiction operations. The Eastern District of Virginia is where a lot of our espionage cases go. Some of our larger cases go on a rocket docket with amazing judges sitting up there. And now we're going to have a cartoon character running as, effectively as a prosecutor. You've got this vindictive prosecution defense, which we used to, as defense lawyers, talk about. Like, I wonder if I'll ever have a case where I can win on vindictive prosecution. Now been handed to us. I don't know if you saw the filing yesterday in the Abrego Garcia case, which was filed by a friend of mine, Sean Hecker, who's now representing Abrego Garcia in the Middle District of Tennessee, in which they said to support their vindictive prosecution motion to have the indictment dismissed against Abrego Garcia, this phony thing there, that here's an example. Eric Seibert just got fired because he wouldn't bring phony and false charges against a political enemy of Donald Trump named Letitia James. It's right there in their new filing. And they're asking, of course, and that's just one example, right? Since you and I have known each other, you got Danielle Sassoon in the Southern District of New York, who quits noisily with an 8-page single-spaced letter after Emil Bovee, now Judge Bovee on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, told her if she doesn't dismiss the Eric Adams indictment, she's going to be in big trouble. She was the shining star in that office, a Hasidic Jewish woman who they thought was going to be, and a Republican who was going to be the head of that office. And she said, dismiss the indictment. We have a superseding indictment against him ready to go. We're about to ask permission to bring. And when she went, so she was the first one, right? And about 4 or 5 people in that office that said, no, we're not going to do Donald Trump's Department of Justice's bidding. Seibert, the Eastern District criminal chief, who refused to bring a phony Abrego Garcia charges, right? All now coming together as Donald Trump tries to stick all these people in these U.S. attorney positions.
Yeah, I mean, this corruption of the Department of Justice, it not only leads to these kind of political persecutions and prosecutions that we're seeing, but also just the total undermining of the ability of the government to bring its case anywhere. I mean, we're seeing that in the Luigi Mangione case as well, where the Justice Department was just basically, said that they could be sanctioned for disclosing information to the public that could spoil the jury pool.
Yeah.
So this, incompetence and corruption has broad-reaching impacts that go beyond the political sphere to the ability to prosecute crime and bring cases against, murderers.
Yeah, Adam Schiff in an interview with Midas said something almost exactly what you're saying, and he's a former federal prosecutor himself. He said the complete and wholesale, I'm paraphrasing, destruction of the Department of Justice means that in the public's eye, and they're the ones sitting in grand juries and in jury boxes, they're not believing what the Department of Justice is selling any longer. The credibility is gone. Federal judges don't see it either. And it's making it increasingly difficult for the prosecutions to get indictments and convictions when they're doing it in the name of the Trump Department of Justice. I mean, you just had Pam Bondi and Donald Trump doing a victory lap because an insane guy named Ryan Routh, who represented himself in his assassination attempt against President Trump. This is a guy who in a federal filing said that his prosecution should be resolved by a golf match with Donald Trump, presided over by, in his words, female strippers, and that if he lost, Donald Trump can have him killed by an execution, a firing squad. This guy, mad as a hatter, represented himself, and Pam Bondi is celebrating because it took 3 hours for a jury to convict. That's how low the Department of Justice has sunk. If they couldn't beat Ryan, mad as a hatter Routh in front of a jury in North Florida, and of course taking credit for a prosecution and an investigation that started by the Biden administration.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, would be a laughing matter if the stakes weren't so high.
Yeah, I agree. I'm chuckling, but only because the guy's comment about a golf match to the death to resolve.
I mean, you would think that Trump might take him up on that.
Well,
it sounds like his kind of thing.
As long as he can bring a Secret Service to kick the ball into the hole on every hole.
Drop the ball for him, yeah.
So he can card an 18, which is what he's been known to do. But what we're watching is, I mean, I've said it out loud, I'm sure you don't disagree, the most corrupt Department of Justice we've ever seen. I mean, it makes Nixon's Attorney General and Department of Justice look like tiddlywinks, look like kindergarten by comparison.
I mean, we needed a smoking gun tape for that, and now they just post it online.
Yeah, now they just because somewhere they think that transparency means to talk about their nefarious plans in violation of the rule of law out loud, and then have it repeated through their rapid response team, and then repeated by their Stephen Miller, chief of staff, and then isn't it all better now because we talked about it? No, it's not all better. It violates criminal law, it violates constitutional law, and it's not all better now. Right?
No.
No, it's not. Right. So, and he's having difficulty getting his attorney general picks like Lindsay Halligan. Look, he can nominate whoever he wants. He can nominate the family dog if he'd like to. But the question is the Senate going to continue to confirm these people for him, or are they going to push back on the most extreme examples? Like, can we imagine now Lindsay Halligan against Cory Booker, against Representative Goldman, against Adam Schiff in confirmation hearings?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of these people are a bridge too far even for Republicans. I don't know about Halligan, but, Alina Habba, New Jersey, was never confirmed. Ed Martin, they couldn't confirm in D.C. I mean, they did confirm Jeanine Pirro, so they're, I don't know what to say about that, or where Halligan ranks on the levels of Alina Habba, Ed Martin, and Jeanine
she's just completely incompetent. I mean, she's not competent to hold that job, to be that prosecutor. Yeah. And the question is how hard the Democrats are going to go after these people in their confirmation hearings. I mean, right now the Dems seem to be post the death of Charlie Kirk seem to be finding their footing on how to oppose this administration as the party out of power. Do you think?
I think it remains to be seen. I mean, we're days away from the big showdown, and so I think that's a more defining moment for the party, and we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah, very good. See, I'm glad that we have Paul Blumenthal here from HuffPo here talking about Donald Trump's obscenely unqualified acting interim U.S. attorneys and what it means for the rule of law. Paul, we love having you on. The audience always likes to be briefed by you, and we look forward to your next article on HuffPo and your next appearance here on Legal AF.
Yeah, great to always be here. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.